Welcome to TerrorHawk Recap. Today, we're diving into a quiet place, where silence isn't golden, it's survival. The movie opens with a haunting stillness, a town abandoned and eerily silent, as if humanity has vanished overnight. Empty streets and desolate shops stretch endlessly, giving the chilling sense that no life has touched this place in weeks. Inside one of the larger stores, notices about missing people hang on the walls, reminders of a world lost to fear and chaos. In the shadows, a small boy explores quietly, his curious eyes scanning the empty space, while his older sister, Regan, follows close behind, signaling him to stay silent. Nearby, their mother carefully administers medicine to her ailing son, each movement cautious, precise, as if the slightest noise could draw deadly attention. On the floor, the boy traces patterns with chalk, sketching airplanes and pointing skyward as though signaling the sun itself, imagining flight in a world that feels grounded by terror. His hands reach for a model plane perched atop a cabinet surrounded by stars, attempting to coax it down gently, but it slips and crashes to the floor. Regan swiftly catches it, steadying her brother, their quiet teamwork underscoring the bond that keeps them alive. Elsewhere in the store, Lee tinkers with a complex setup of radios and devices, connecting tools and signals with precision, preparing for what the encroaching darkness may bring. The tension rises as they realize night is approaching, and every moment must be measured, every sound controlled. Even as Regan playfully hands her brother the crashed plane, a glimmer of innocence pierces the fear, but the shadow of danger never strays far. As the family leaves the store and begins the careful trek home, their path littered with obstacles to muffle their steps, the forest looms ahead like a dark maze. The youngest child clutches a small device, activating it so that the model plane hums quietly, its tiny noise startling even their experienced companions. In that moment, the terrifying reality hits. Their world is no longer safe, and Regan's inability to hear heightens both her courage and her vulnerability. From the dense woods, a menacing alien presence makes itself known, a sinister echo that sends dread surging through the family. Every step forward is a battle against the unseen, a tense dance with predators that could strike at any sound. After the terrifying encounter in the woods, the family is left shaken, grief and fear etched into every expression. Time passes, nearly 400 days into this new, silent world, and the few remaining humans cling desperately to survival. Lee and his family have fortified themselves, moving cautiously, setting cameras along every path to monitor for the deadly alien hunters. These creatures, blind yet hypersensitive to sound, can detect even the faintest noise from afar, turning any misstep into a potential death sentence. Lee meticulously maps the presence of 3 aliens around their territory, aware that one wrong sound could mean the end. Within the fragile walls of their home, tension blends with the anticipation of new life. Evelyn is pregnant, and the due date looms. Every precaution is taken, tiny clothes are folded, toys arranged, and oxygen cylinders stored nearby to protect the baby from any threat. As evening falls, Lee climbs the tower and lights a small signal fire, a flicker of hope in the dark, distant woods that might guide other survivors without attracting danger. Later, the family shares a quiet, soundless dinner, each movement deliberate, the smallest noise carrying potential peril, but even the best-laid plans are fragile. A clumsy accident, a lamp slipping and shattering, sends a sharp crack through the silence, causing terror to ripple through the family. Smoke rises from the unintended fire, and Lee rushes to contain it while signaling for absolute stillness. The forest remains alive with sounds that could betray them. Pigeons flutter, a small creature scurries. But each tiny moment is survived with careful control of panic. Lee continues to innovate, building a device for Regan to help her communicate without danger, giving her a measure of independence in their precarious world. Evelyn joins him, sharing music through headphones, a fleeting moment of joy and normalcy in a life dominated by fear. The next day, Lee goes further, setting signal lights around the property and checking every corner for signs of the aliens, while guiding Regan through routines that limit her exposure to risk. Even when Regan protests, claiming the machines don't work, Lee gently insists, emotionally imparting resilience and ingenuity to his daughter. In this quiet but brutal struggle for survival, every decision, every sound, every breath carries immense weight, and the family must navigate a world where silence is life itself. Evelyn reassures Lee, her voice steady despite the tension, reminding him that no harm will come to their family under his protection. Strengthened by her words, Lee steels himself to venture out, determined to face the dangers lurking beyond the safety of their home. Regan insists on accompanying him, refusing to stay behind, but Lee gently urges her to remain, a decision that leaves her reluctantly retreating to her room. Quiet sorrow in her eyes, Lee posts himself near a river, a natural barrier that masks movement and sound, bringing Marcus along while explaining that the rushing water will obscure any noise from the aliens. Behind a waterfall, Marcus practices speaking aloud, his voice amplified but safely hidden, and for the first time in days, a smile of genuine joy crosses his face. Meanwhile, Evelyn confronts the haunting reality of past losses, placing a plane where tragedy once struck, a quiet memorial to the life taken. The weight of grief sits heavy, yet life continues to demand vigilance. As Lee and Marcus make their careful way home, the world's dangers are relentless. On the path, they stumble upon the lifeless body of an elderly woman, her husband standing silently in despair nearby. Lee signals Marcus to stay quiet, but a sudden scream pierces the air, sending Evelyn scrambling to hide behind a tree. The alien swiftly closes in, claiming the helpless man in a chilling instant. Inside, Evelyn's time is near. She must deliver her baby under the constant threat of death. She descends carefully into the basement, narrowly avoiding hazards, her movements precise and urgent. A fallen photo album shatters at her feet, a bitter reminder of what was lost, but she presses on, finally activating a red warning light to signal Lee. From a distance, Lee sees the glow and knows immediately that danger surrounds her. Sprinting toward home, he arrives just in time to see the aliens converging, and he quickly sets off a series of rockets and fireworks, the explosions drawing the creatures away. In the chaos, Marcus secures the last supplies while Evelyn gives birth, her cries mingling with the tension and relief that floods the room. Lee reaches her just in time, holding her close as both mother and child are finally safe. Evelyn carefully brings the newborn to a secure space in the basement, shielding the baby from the relentless threat outside, while Regan remains vigilant, listening for every subtle sound in a world where silence is survival. As the chaos intensifies, Regan races toward the house, guided by the flickering lights of rockets and fireworks that scatter the aliens momentarily. Marcus, overcome with fear, drops his flashlight while fleeing, leaving it behind in the open field. When Regan reaches it, she bends to retrieve the light, but the alien suddenly emerges from the shadows, closing in with terrifying speed. Fortune intervenes, however, as Regan's hearing aids emit a high-frequency sound, a piercing resonance that disorients the creature, forcing it to retreat in agony. Seizing the moment, Evelyn pulls her daughter close, signaling absolute silence, each heartbeat loud in the tension-filled air. Outside, Lee arrives at the basement entrance, guided by his family's whispered directions, determined to protect his children. Together, he and Marcus climb the tower and ignite signal fires, their small flames a fragile beacon in the oppressive darkness. Yet the fire's growth only mirrors their mounting despair. Meanwhile, water begins to flood the basement, and Evelyn awakens to the rising threat. She instinctively lifts her newborn, shielding the child as the icy current swirls dangerously around them. The sound of rushing water masks movement, creating a deceptive sense of safety, yet danger lurks closer than ever. Back at the tower, disaster strikes as doors collapse under pressure, corn and debris crashing to the floor below. Lee senses the alien presence above, rushing to protect Marcus, who narrowly escapes the falling wreckage. The creature ascends, relentless, forcing Marcus and Regan to barricade themselves behind the tower doors. In a desperate gambit, Regan triggers her hearing aids again, producing another piercing frequency that inflicts pain on the alien, driving it temporarily back. Finally, reunited, the family clings to one another, relief fleeting as the alien's ominous presence lingers. Lee watches the creature advance toward the tower, the tension razor-sharp, while Marcus and Regan brace themselves behind makeshift barriers. The echoes of the alien's approach are deafening, every sound magnified in the heavy silence that has become their constant companion. In that suspended moment, hope and terror coexist, the family's survival hanging by a fragile thread. As Lee steels himself for the inevitable confrontation, the final confrontation is an explosion of suspense and strategy. The aliens converge on the family's truck, forcing Lee into desperate action. Marcus bravely manipulates the vehicle, sending it rolling toward the house to protect the family, while Evelyn shields the newborn. Regan, understanding her father's plan, amplifies the sound frequency from her hearing aids, producing a piercing, agonizing signal that tortures the aliens. One by one, the creatures collapse, driven into retreat by ingenuity and courage. Even as relief washes over them, another alien attacks, but again, the family's strategy holds, combining quick thinking, bravery, and the very tools of survival they've crafted over countless days of fear. Finally, the family stands together, battered, exhausted, but victorious. The silence that once signaled danger now offers a momentary peace. They survey the wreckage, the fires, and the evidence of what they've endured. Every fallen object, every scar, and every tear marks their survival, a testament to human ingenuity and the unbreakable bonds of family. Even in victory, the world remains perilous. Beyond the confines of their home, silence still dominates, and the faintest sound could awaken predators lurking nearby. But for now, they have learned to turn fear into strategy, sound into a weapon, and survival into hope. Lee, Evelyn, Regan, and Marcus are no longer just a family. They are a unit forged by terror, sharpened by experience, and bonded by love and unyielding courage. In this world, survival is not just about avoiding noise. It is about outthinking monsters, protecting the vulnerable, and finding hope in the smallest victories. And that's the terrifying journey of A Quiet Place. If you loved this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe to TerrorHawk Recap and press the bell icon so you never miss a pulse-pounding movie breakdown.